In some instances, stewardship and donor relations are just as valuable, if not in some cases more valuable, than being a gift officer. The industry standard says that if you need to thank someone 8 times before you ask them for another gift. And stewardship and donor relations are a perfect way to be able to do that. It's not just a gift comes in and they get your donor gets a acknowledgement from the advancement office. Their gift was to you and your program. So let's leverage that connection of you and having a personal connection to that donor to also help with donor relations. And at what we employ at Wesleyan is we get a weekly list of all of the gifts made to any one of our priorities in athletics. And that list includes the email address and a snail mail address for that donor and what they gave to. We dissect those lists and we send them to each head coach for their giving, and then they in turn send a thank you note that's produced within the athletics department, but the coach writes a personal thank you or makes a personal note at the bottom of the letter, and it gets mailed off. It saves the coach from having to do that in-house, but it still has personalization of their few lines scribbled at the bottom. Certain $500 and above, the person also gets an acknowledged letter from the athletic department. But during these uncertain times, one of the things we've added to our process is, in my role, I've added sending them an email with language thanking them for their gift during these uncertain times and how humbled we are that they decided to invest in us when they have so many other possible things going on in their lives. And I will add that as a resource for John to send out. It's just an added way of stewarding our donors who are already engaged with us and keeping them engaged with us to make gifts again. So Roger Craver, as I mentioned show you in this slide, he wrote a book called Retention Fundraising. And these statistics, and we're all statistics people in athletics, are very interesting. That the average nonprofit has 60 to 70% chance of obtaining additional contribution from existing donors. So then, of course, I make the segue to Moneyballers, and who hasn't seen that movie, that we go with the data, what the data tells us. So it's cheaper in the long run to put some efforts into existing donors and to get them to be repeat donors than it is necessary to spend the effort to acquire new donors, because it takes more time. It might seem easier to acquire new donors than it is to steward existing donors, but the effort is clearly in the data that shows it's worth that effort. So John, if we can advance to slide 9. So these are some of those acknowledgments that I was talking about. These simple efforts in increasing your donor relations will create a more meaningful prospect and donor relationship. And that's what advancement and donor relations is all about. It's about relationships. You know this already with recruiting. You make that relationship with a prospective student athlete. If it's a deeper relationship, you have a better chance of yielding that student athlete. It's the same with donors. The deeper relationship you have with the donor, the easier the conversation is, the more you can talk to them specifically about what your concerns are. And especially now in these uncertain times, we are most of us here at Wesleyan, we know we've had a 10% reduction in our operating budget already this year. We had to give back 10%. We know next year that we are going to lose another 10% of our operating budget and also be hamstrung by our inability to generate income. So this is no mystery, and folks know that these things are happening across higher ed. So it's okay to have those conversations with donors that you have a good relationship with. That's not something you would necessarily send in a broadcast email to your entire alumni body, but it's something that you would discuss one-on-one or in small groups with some of your existing donors. So some of the other ways that you can also leverage donor relations with donors is a first-time donor campaign. So what we do here at Wesleyan is I have these little postcards, and every time a person makes a gift for the first time, and I get this information from our advancement office, we ship out a little postcard that says, you know, thank you for taking the first step in becoming part of the Wesleyan Athletics donor family. And it has a little kitschy photo of someone running stadium stairs, hence the step. But it's effective. I get comments back from folks about these postcards. It takes minimal effort. It's 23 cents, I think, to send the postcard. So these are just little things that you can do to augment what advancement is doing or what you're already doing to take it to the next step. Consecutive donor loyalty initiatives is another way. You have donors already that you can engage with now that have been consecutive donors and thank them for their loyalty. That's another touch. Another area that we're exploring for the first time this year is corporate matching gifts. I had a Zoom conference call with our department this morning. We talked about our June plans for fundraising. And one of the areas that we're going to emphasize for people who have already made a gift to Wesleyan Athletics is the opportunity to match their already donation with an employer-sponsored matched gift. And again, it's not asking them to dig into their pocket, it's asking them to take some time that they might already have for being home and initiate that process with their company to see if we're eligible. So those are things, some of the things that you can do now using digital engagement to further connect with your audience. Impact reports are another one. It's nice for a donor to hear from the area from which they are supporting how the impact of their gift has made a difference in their program. We have a unique ability in athletics to demonstrate our impact a lot easier than an annual fund office where it kind of goes into a black hole. You can send from the basketball coach an email saying, this is what your gifts supported this year. It's very simple to do, and it lets the donor know how their money is being used. That's impactful. We here at Wesleyan, we do a thank you calling program with our student athletes. Every fall, particularly during preseason when before school starts, I have a handful of student athletes come in from each team, and they call donors who made gifts to the program last year. There's no reason why you can't do that already this year now with the donors. You don't have to wait until next season starts. You can do that now. Again, it keeps them in the mindset of athletics during a time in June when they are going to get solicited by your school. We're also considering using a new software program that will help us send thank you videos. There's several out there on the market. We're particularly, I'm not necessarily going to mention the one that we're using, but we are going to try to use that in another way to digitally engage with our constituents. Video's king, we know that already, and this is just another way to build that. And I'm hoping eventually that the investment in that for fundraising can also help recruiting for you ADs out there that are looking to get some bang for your buck. I think coaches could also use these thank you platforms, video platforms for their recruiting as well. So hit me up on LinkedIn if you want more information on what we're doing there. But there's also, using another voice besides advancement, and that's the coach, the athletic director, someone in my position. I'm the only one in this role at Wesleyan, so I don't have a staff like some of the big D1 schools or some of the D2 schools. So we're looking to leverage what we have now on the cheap to get the most out of what we can possibly do. And Zoom is an enterprise product on our campus, and so we're trying to use it to our best advantage.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to get more great sports branding videos from Hartwell Studio Works, hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.